this world. This ain't just breakfast, this is my whole world.
Welcome back to Intuitive Investing. I'm your host, Marisa Lee, where I interview some of the best psychics in the country about what's going to happen in the crypto market before it does. And today I'm here with the great Cinnamon Mancini. Cinnamon, welcome.
Hi, Marisa, the Magnificent. How are you today?
Excellent. Excellent. So we're just going to dive in because the crypto market's getting very, very exciting. We had a nice spike up and the market's coming alive. So I pushed Cinnamon today to do this episode with me because I'm like, we need to make content. We need to get this out as soon as possible because things are going to shift in the crypto market for the good. So first thing I want to talk about is OriginTrail. Now, OriginTrail is under the radar and I don't hear anybody talking about it. Today, the price of OriginTrail is 36 cents a coin. Just last week, it was 27 cents, okay? And it went all the way up to 43 cents recently. This is a strong buy for me, even still, even though it just went up. And let me tell you something. This is a great AI play, and they're getting into real-world assets. So OriginTrail is ranked number 135 on coinmarketcap.com. So it's not in the top 100. It's in the top 200, though, and that's okay with me. The total market cap is $184 million, and the circulating supply is only 500 million coins. I put out a $20 price prediction on OriginTrail. I want to say I did this about a year ago, and I really strongly feel that we're going to hit that. I know that sounds nuts from where we're at, but I did some numbers recently, and I threw it through ChatGPT, and I got a great response. If the market dominance with OriginTrail increases by 0.08%, and the total crypto market cap is $10 trillion for the entire crypto market, not just OriginTrail. That would mean that OriginTrail would be in that $20 range. So this is very realistic. We're not talking huge numbers here. And OriginTrail would have to hit a $10 billion market cap in order to have a $20 price point. But I feel really good about this crypto. This is one of those cryptos that you want to just accumulate a little bit of here and there. Even if you throw 20 bucks at it here and there, like right now, this is the time to get in. Set it and forget it. This is going to be something that I think is going to go way higher than $20 in the future. This is going to be one of those cryptos that you're like, man, I wish I bought that when it was under $1, right? So that's what I have for you guys today. This is very exciting stuff. And, you know, now I usually have Cinnamon on my show because she's very good. She's a very good psychic medium. And also she knows the financial markets very well. And it's very hard to find people that know both, right? But a couple months ago, I interviewed a woman named Bonnie Burke-Boyle, and she's a retired judge that is a phenomenal psychic medium. She's a good friend of mine. She's one of those people that can look at a picture of somebody and tell you all about them. So when I interviewed her, I threw her a bunch of crypto CEOs pictures. She knew nothing about these people, and I'm like, tell me about them. And here's a clip. Here's what she had to say about Tomaz Levak, the CEO of OriginTrail. Check it out.
Okay, so this is OriginTrail.
OriginTrail. He has a purpose. He's CEO.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a newer kind of thing too?
I wouldn't say newer, but he's definitely gotten into the AI game in all different kind of sectors. And that's one of the things that I really like about OriginTrail is they're very diverse with what they can do with AI on their blockchain.
Okay. This guy, I'd put all my eggs in his basket just looking at him.
Is it because he's good looking?
No. I'm not saying, no, I'm not doing the looks.
Okay. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
I know. I read eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I think this guy, I think his friends and his family and his peeps and all the people behind him are counting on him, and he will do anything not to fail. I don't think he would do illegal, immoral. I almost feel like he's the family guy. He's like, I just feel like he's pretty trustworthy. I feel like he's going places and he's going to make it work. And he's going to include a lot of people on his way that are loyal to him. Loyalty is a big thing to this guy. So I think
Okay.
if you invested in him, he would be pretty loyal.
Yeah, OriginTrail is absolutely one of my top picks. And I saw this hitting, the $10 to $20 range. And I think right now it's like 34 cents a coin or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at it today. And the market's down. It could be in the 20-cent range. I'm not sure. But we're well under 50 cents with OriginTrail right now. And I see this hitting like, the $10 to $20 range in the future. So this is solid. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would put all my eggs in his basket. And okay, so just joking, like you said, I don't do the looks thing because I've always gone for the underdog. Honest to God, my girlfriends were going over. They were loving. Who was that? Tom Selleck. I love Tom Selleck now, but back in the day when he was Magnum PI, all the girls were wooning over him. That was not my guy. You know who my guy was? Quincy. Remember Quincy, the old coroner that lived on the boat? No, you don't. Jack Klugman, his name was.
Okay.
I thought he was hot. I thought yeah. So I'm looks wise, that's not it. I feel his whole being he's good. He's solid.
Okay. Good. I love that.
Okay, so as you can see, Bonnie said some phenomenal things. She said she put all of her eggs in his basket, and to me, that was like a really good sign. Now, this is a sign for me that this is going to go up significantly. This is very undervalued, and for me, OriginTrail right now is a strong, strong buy. In addition to Algorand, too, she also said Stacey Warden's going to be a powerhouse. Check this out.
Okay, this is number 9, Algorand.
Definitely powerhouse. Definite powerhouse.
So listen, we all get confirmation in different ways. And I love it when people that I know have an exceptional psychic ability confirm what I'm already feeling and just look at pictures of people and just say, okay, yeah, no, this is a good investment. So now listen, of course, everything we say here is not financial advice. It's our personal opinions and psychic predictions. But OriginTrail, in addition to that, I made a list of all the things that they're involved in. And let me read this off to you. So they're getting involved in real world assets. They're getting involved in AI in all different sectors. And that includes internet content and trying to determine what's real and what's not, like what's fake news and what's not fake news, because it's really hard to determine that these days. They're getting into AI with supply chains. They're getting into AI with transportation, science, and healthcare. Now, science is really interesting, especially when it has the healthcare spin, because, AI hasn't even really begun to adapt in that world, but we're starting to see that a little bit more and more, and that's going to be huge moving forward. Okay. They're doing AI with sports organizations. So can you imagine like owning, let's say, an NFL team or an MLB team, and they do stats. They have all these stats, right? You run through AI, who's projected statistically to do well, right? It also helps put a value on players based on performance and things like that. So OriginTrail has the market in that. And then also AI with construction. So they're involved in so many different projects with AI, and it may feel a little bit scattered right now, but there's going to come a point where OriginTrail just shoots up, and I cannot wait for that to happen. So to me today, that is my message to the universe, is to add OriginTrail to your crypto portfolio, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, not financial advice, but I personally feel that this crypto is going to do very well long term. So that's what I have for you today. We'll talk about XRP. We'll talk about XRP and World Liberty Financial in a little bit. But Cinnamon, would you like to pull a card?
Yeah, let's pull a card. Okay, let's see what the angels say is going on in the universe right now. Look at that, was last week's water. Okay, and let's mix it up, and here we go. Visualization.
I love
see
that.
what that's all about. You know, it's funny because when I was younger, that was one of my superpowers. I was on the dance team and I would visualize the routine every night before I went to bed. And I'll tell you what, it was like boom, boom, boom. It's like kind of like going on a vision quest or making a vision board, like with the Native Americans, right? Like we go and we put on a big piece of cardboard all the different things we want. It's like speaking the language of the universe is to visualize what you want with emotion into the universe. Okay, let's see what it says. Vulnerability. Open to attack or criticism, not protected, wounding, likely to injure, liable to increased penalties or bonuses. And we kind of did talk a little bit about that before the show, didn't we? This is a card of strength, not weakness. When you draw this card, know that it's time to fine-tune your emotional sensitivity or enrich your feelings. Be more aware than usual of outside negative energy and take the proper steps to protect yourself and your dreams. The word ability contained within this word validates your ability to stop being a victim. Be aware. Do not allow yourself to be placed in an uncomfortable situation. To feel aliveness in our hearts, we must also allow vulnerability. Can you afford to take the chance? Can you afford not to? And how fascinating is that? Because I've got so many fun things to share with your audience today that I could totally trace back to. Actually, I just read vulnerability instead of visualization. Did you realize that?
I thought it was a little strange when it started out at first, but you know, hey, whatever, it is what it is.
I'm like,
well, maybe there was a reason you did that.
Well, I think so, because we were talking about the whole world liberty. So maybe let me let me go into what I came to share, and let's take this. Well, and then maybe we'll double down and read the visualization after.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because, you know, in our world, Marissa, there are no accidents, right?
True.
So, so I did a little bit of research because you know why? I want to know, why is Bitcoin running up? Like, what is happening? Are we starting the bull market? What is happening? What is going on with Bitcoin? And oh my goodness, I found so many different interesting things in my research. And so I'm going to say something is shifting in the market, and this is bigger than the bull run. It's completely bigger than that. So what I found is twofold. One is that we got a 1-2 punch. I made some notes here because I wanted to make sure that I got it right. But okay, so this just happened. Everything happened last week, right? Like but go forward before that, we really wanted the House, the Senate, everybody agreed, give us guidelines, give us clarity. We wanted clarity. And they were like, they gridlocked and they did what politicians do. No. Well, then what happened? The White House stepped in. The White House stepped in. They got together with the STC and CFTC, which we talked about last week, and said, hey, we've got to make some regulations. Now, the SEC chair can absolutely do that. Is it going to be the rule of law for the whole land? I mean, can another administration come in and change the rules of the SEC and override it with a vote? Yeah, sure they can. But you know what? We don't have to worry about that for another 2 years, right? So we can. So they got together and they decided they're going to have some regulation for the crypto. Well, so now what is that doing? That is sending a clear message that clarity is coming, regulations are coming, this whole idea of Bitcoin. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's the whole blockchain world and all the tokenization that's going to go on to the blockchain world. It's signaling to the world that the United States is backing it. But now look at what happened today. Like, I woke up and the first thing that I see is on repeat from Scott Bessent. And what did he say? He said they're going to start buying back double the amount of bonds. So listen, people, I'm going to break this down so simple for you. When our government buys back treasury bonds, what they're saying is, I'm going to turn the money printer on. I'm going to create money from out of nowhere. I'm going to buy back those bonds. So they're basically printing money to pay the debt. So what do you think is happening? Like, I always try, not like I'm anywhere close to this, but I do try to imagine with my psychic ability that I'm the 1% on the planet wealth-wise. So I have multi-billions of dollars. I try, where's my card? I try to visualize.
Yeah.
No, it's visualization. So that was meant to be in there somewhere. And so I visualize what it would be like. And if I have billion, say I have $500 billion because I got left from my granddaddy's granddaddy, whatever. And my job is to hold that money or even make money with that money. And so I'm top 1% on the planet. Where do I park my money to make sure that I keep the value of it and maybe even make a little bit? Well, in the past, it's been with US Treasury bonds because our dollar is the strongest on the whole planet. Well, now we're signaling to that smart money that, you know, if our money's not going to be good because we're printing money, which means we're devaluing the money. And now my money's not going to be worth as much. And they're even buying back my bonds because they're printing money. So I don't want to do that. But at the same time, the crypto regulations just came into place. And last week, they all got together. So now I know clarity is going to pass. What am I going to put my money into? If they're buying back my bonds and now I'm getting my cash back, what am I going to put that cash into to maintain my money? Bitcoin. That's why, look, I looked and yes, are the ETFs coming back? Is Larry Fink coming back buying like hand over fist Bitcoin? He is, but usually like it's only like 3%. Bitcoin only goes up 3% for every $1 billion or something that he buys. So it can't just be that. No, if you look at all the wallets, they're doing it sneakily, stealthily. So I think it's this top 1%. That's why Bitcoin ran up. This is not a bull market. We're not in a bull market yet. That is not the way I see it. But then now listen, so I started thinking yesterday, and I went out to Consensus and saw Don Jr. talk, and he talked about American Bitcoin at length. Remember I told you I sat in the front row, and I went back, I had recorded it on my little device, and so I pulled that recording back up and popped it into my AI while I was doing my research. So the powers that be are already positioning themselves, right? Like the president's boys, Don Jr. and Don Jr. and Eric Trump, they're positioning themselves to have a Bitcoin mining company. And now they've got this World Liberty Financial, right? So now you tell me where we're going, right? You tell me where the digital world is going. Like we're going right into it. But hold on, for all of you that don't own Bitcoin, but you own all these other assets like this OriginTrail that you just talked about. So now let's take Franklin Templeton or Templeton Franklin. I always think Templeton Grandin, you know, the special woman, and she figured out how to like be hugged. She had like autism or something. Great film. But not Templeton Grandin, but Templeton, the hedge fund company. What are they doing? They are now tokenizing. They've got permission to tokenize their mutual funds and put them on the blockchain. Like this is huge, people. Tokenization, taking everything that's in human world and putting it onto the blockchain. So you've got this going on. You've got Besant saying we're starting to buy back bonds, which just means the money printer's going on. Like think about that for a minute, right? Just this, put yourself in the White House's shoes. Okay, we all have debt. And I can't afford to pay my credit cards. I can't afford to pay my house. I can't afford to pay my car. I can't afford to pay for all the things that I have, right? So I go out back and I print some money. Right now, I have the money to pay this debt. Well, the debt that the White House is paying back is to all these sovereign nations. It's to most of it, it comes from Japan. Japan loves to buy our bonds because it stabilizes their economy. But so don't a lot of other countries, except for they see that our money is becoming more and more and more worthless. So they don't want our bonds. So we're buying back, double buying back by printing the money, buying all those back early, not to maturity date, but buying it back early. And now what are they saying? Well, I got to put my money back in something else. What am I going to put it into? I'm going to put it into Bitcoin. Why? Because the highest economy in the land is determining that they're going to give clarity to the digital asset world. And, you know, Bitcoin is going to be the stable of everything. That is the backbone of the whole digital asset economy. I'm going to buy Bitcoin with it. And the canary in the coal mine is the Trump family. It absolutely is the Trump family. Like, how do they go start a bank? We talked about that on the last episode.
I know, right? It's crazy.
How do they go? How do they do this? They do this because they know what's coming. And, you know, do I think that that's fair or right? Well, that's a topic for another conversation. But all you need to know as an investor is follow the money. Follow the smart money, which are the investors that are now taking their money. They're getting their bonds are being bought back. So now they have all this cash on hand. What do they do with that cash on hand? They're buying Bitcoin with it. That's one thing that's smart money. What is Trump's family doing? He's got the seat in the White House that is the highest seat of the land of anywhere on planet Earth. What he says basically rules all of the other countries, or at least at minimum has a big influence on it. What is his family doing? They are the canary in the coal mine. His sons have American Bitcoin. Now they started a bank. Where is this all going? It's coming to us faster than what we realize. And so that is the news that I have. So that now, if you say, okay, bring that visualization card in, right? Bring the visualization card in. What are you invested in? Where are you trying to go long term? What is coming to you? Like if you just listen to this podcast and you're like, oh, well, Cinnamon Mancini just like totally laid out what's happening and she gave all the check mark, check mark, check mark. This is what's going on. How do you as an investor position yourself smartly to be able to take advantage of the world as it's coming to us? And, you know, I'm a Bitcoin. I know you told me, you're like, I made a prediction that Bitcoin was going to be at 125 by year's end. I don't know if it's 120 or 125. And I tried to look through the videos, but I just didn't have time for that.
Yeah, we put out a lot of content. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But I did. And you know what? I still think that it might get pushed a little bit into Q1, but I'm fairly certain that between smart money, between printing, just straight up printing, putting more money supply in the system, that is rising. And I do think Bitcoin's going to go up like 80,000. I do. I'm very confident that by the end of next month, Bitcoin will be at 80,000. Well, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, right? Because we're already at like 77. But maintain it. It's looking for its maintained value. And then how much longer is it now? What's going to happen next? Now everybody's going to be coming back from all their vacations in the hedge fund retirements, and they're going to see what everybody else is doing, and they're going to want to make their Christmas bonus. And it's just, I think it's going to be like a snowball. Like, was it the Clarity Act that ignited this? I don't think so much. I think it was just calculated planning all along that just met its proper point and place in time. And that's where we are. And I'm going to be honest, as an investor, I told you like 2 months ago that Spirit had me liquidate everything except for one cash position that I have. Everything else is either in Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Solana, or Tesla. Those are my 4 positions. I own nothing else but those. I never even did get into the Near protocol. I was going to DCA into that, and Spirit was like, nope, you're just going to keep it focused on those. Those things cannot go wrong in this world we're moving into. Those are the immutable ones. You'll be fine. You'll be safe with those. And so that's what I did. Now that other money that's sitting in that Roth IRA, I already know what I'm going to do with it, because I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is as everybody runs into crypto, because they start to FOMO, that snowball starts going down the hill, down the hill, down the hill. What's going to happen? Everybody's going to start pulling out of all of these AI plays that they have, because, you know, there's some kinks that haven't been worked out yet in that system. There are 2 that I'm looking at that I think are also immutable, like the 4 that I talked about. I think there's 2, and that to me, that's NVIDIA and SpaceX. And I'm just basically waiting for those numbers just to see if they're going to completely bottom out as people start going from all their AI plays into crypto. But I don't think those 2 are going to get ruffled so much. I just do not. I think I pretty much think the bottom's in on those 2. And then I'm going to let that cook for the next couple of years. And I think that's how I'm playing that game.
Interesting. It's so interesting. So basically what you're saying is you think that the stock market's going to kind of go down because people are going to pull their money out of the stock market and put it into crypto.
I do, but you know what I think is going to happen simultaneously? I do think they're going to put their money into crypto. So everybody that's waiting for their run is going to be so happy. But I also think that there has to be a period of time where everything that is in human world is going to become tokenized and go on the blockchain. Now, what does that mean during that interim? Like, how do you, like Templeton, like what did it take for them to get permission to start putting their mutual funds tokenize their mutual funds. And how long did that take? And what was the effect? Did they lose money in the process because people weren't investing in them, because maybe they weren't doing as much, because they were focusing on, like, this is where you talk about your Algorand, right? And there was another company we were talking about, and they're playing more to where the puck is, because I think those things just take time. I think they take time within a company to get their paperwork together, to get their blockchain together, to get the AI together, to just get everything together, to switch from doing paper to doing digital, and to being important in the digital world. But do I think so? I think the stock market is going to bend into the digital world. And when that happens, in conjunction with AI just not being able to keep up with its own self, I think there's going to be a big delay. And at the same time, people are going to be running into crypto. And so I think all of that is going to weaken, and prices are going to go down just because you can live in the same house. I've lived in the same house since 2009. And over time, has it gone up? Yes, it has. But has there been ups and downs in the real estate market? Yes, of course. As an investor, you just get accustomed to this way of being in the world. And so that is how I'm investing. That's how I'm looking at the world. And I just don't know enough to know what projects are going to make it in the future, because things are changing so fast. They're just changing so fast that it's going to be easy to get, stirred up and lost. I just feel that. Yeah.
Well, I think you and I get messages about different projects at different times, right?
Totally.
And so I feel like the combination of the two, if you kind of stick to those in your portfolio and you don't just pick one and go all in. I never recommend that anybody go all in on any investment, whether it's a stock or a crypto. You want to stay diversified, right? So, if that means you have 10 different cryptos in your portfolio, if you've got 15, fine, whatever. You put a little bit here, and maybe you go a little bit heavier on the layer one blockchains like Solana, Algorand, Bitcoin, XRP. I mean, we haven't even touched what happened with XRP last week.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Okay. So it went up about 50% in value over the course of 48 hours. But that's how XRP runs. When XRP runs, it runs fast. It starts shooting up like crazy. It's just like people just pile billions of dollars into XRP. And then, of course, retail investors follow suit, right? And then people will pump and dump it, right? Just to make a quick buck here and there. But honestly, I personally see XRP growing over time substantially from where it's at. So XRP is a powerhouse. This is just going to keep going up and going up and going up. I'm not saying there's not going to be pullbacks here and there, right? Because that's just how it goes. I think it went up to like $1.60, and then it went down to I think we're at $1.47 today or something like that. But from where it was at last week at $1, I mean, we're still in a good profit zone if you were to have purchased it last week from where you're at right now. Now, here's the thing. XRP's been around for a long time, and people got in the $2 range and the $2.50 range, right, when this was going up. And this is also a testament of you don't necessarily want to enter into a crypto as it's climbing up, because there's always a pullback, right? And what's happened over the last year with the crypto market is a little bit abnormal. We need to call that what it is, right? There was a big crypto sell-off, and it just kept going down and down and down and down. We realistically should have had a bull run at this point by now. But the good news is that it's still coming. Do you still feel that?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I think I did want to mention something. I think sometimes the best thing that your viewers can do, if you're following psychics, if you're following mediums, find whatever their rhythm is, right? Because if you pay attention long enough, you're gonna know when they're on, it's not even that they're off. You're just going to know when they're on and how they're on. Like that last show we did, we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about XRP, and we talked about Solana on the show the very next day. All three of them were running like crazy. I think that day Bitcoin was running, but then it's like, well, now you start to see how your psychics, how your mediums work. Like part of my skill set with spirit is there's just some things I know, and I said on your show, and I have never been an XRP fan. Never. I'm in the beginning, but never since your show have I been an XRP fan, because there's just other, to me, there's other projects that I feel like, one, I'm going to stand behind, and two, are going to run faster. And that's really all I care about. Like, I'm really not a big diversified girl. Like, I know you are, but I think different investors do it different. Like, what did Warren Buffett say? Like, he made all of his money on Coca-Cola, right? Like, if you've got one good investment and you stick with that, like, that should do you, find that good investment. But I mean, I'm with you. Like, I want to have a couple eggs in the basket, especially ones that are run opposite each other. And just, I can keep track of 4 right now. Right now, I can keep track of 4. Just whatever, if you can keep track of 10 or 12, I mean, and you think they're all great projects, I mean, go for it. But the point is that is kind of, sometimes I just know something and I don't know how or why it makes sense. I just know that I know that I know it. And the way that I work is that I'll get ahead on something that's coming up and I just know it. But then I go back and I use research to try to prove what it is that I know. Like, I knew like a month or 6 weeks ago, I even made a private video about Bitcoin's about ready to run up. Right. And so you start to see, if you follow, psychics and mediums long enough, you'll start to see, okay, well, they're a little bit ahead of time. Like, how far ahead of time are they? Like, how exactly do they work? How can you use their skill set to help you as an investor? And because we don't all get it right all the time. Right. So part of it, their participation in watching, not just taking what we say, all the way to the tilt, but taking it into advisement and saying, okay, well, they talked about this and this was important enough for them to do the research on it, for them to talk about it. And look, the very next day, XRP, Bitcoin, and Solana are all like up and up and up. And with no bull market, we are not in a bull market, but what we are in is so much deeper than a bull market, because it's starting like this. To me, if there's a race being run, if we're going to RUN a race, like, we are now officially at the starting line. Like, before, it was just warm-ups and practices and stretches and all the things we did with NFTs and different blockchains that didn't make it, and different projects that, like, remember, I think they're still around, but was it crypto? CRYPTO, the big arena in Los Angeles.
The crypto.com arena? Yeah.
Yeah. Remember they had it was like a Super Bowl Sunday, and it was across all the ads one year. It's like all of that was just prepping us. It was prepping for the race. I'm telling you, as your medium, I believe we are now at the starting line, and it's now we're getting ready to go. And that's exciting, because just wait, Marisa, you called it right. Just wait. When we start to run, I'm pretty sure it's going to run all the way. It's going to run all the way. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so exciting. Wait, okay. Here's a question for you. Do you think we're going to see a $10 trillion market cap for the entire crypto market this year?
What are we at right now?
2.6.
I don't know about that, Marisa. I would like to say yes, but it's hard to say, because the money we're buying.
See, if we don't hit $10 trillion this year, I do feel that we're going to hit it next year. So we're within a year of that, and the 10T market cap is really where people are going to look at their portfolio. Let's say they were to just wait and not do anything more from now till then. There's going to be so many millionaires made, and they're going to be able to retire early, buy houses, just relax, not have that stress of finances. It's going to be so good. Some people they look for that short-term stuff, like all the meme coins, like, hey, what meme coin came out that I could make, a few $1,000s on, like, so quickly. But really, at this point, if you just get some of the layer 1 blockchains, you wait till that 10T market cap, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. It's going to be so good. As long as you have a certain amount of money in the market, I would say at least a few $1,000s in certain coins, you'll be sitting really good. So,
I think it might take until Q2. Next year. Because Marisa, that's a lot of ground. You're talking about That we have to have triple, but listen, but it can't be that far off because, okay, so if you just think about what Percent is doing, we're buying back our treasury yields, right? We're buying them, or we're buying back the bonds, like we're buying them back. What are we doing? Not just one, but double. Now we're buying double back. We were already buying them back a little bit. Now we're doubling down and buying them back. So that tells me that there's gonna, how are we paying for that? How are we paying for that? I tell you how, we're printing money. And then we haven't even gone into election season, although I think we're starting. I think we did talk about this. Like I always knew they were going to turn that money printer on before. I thought it was like September, maybe like September. And so did the money printer turn on in August? It did, but it just leaves more time for that money printer to be on. And you mark my words. And I said this for how long? I said, Marisa, they're going to raise interest rates. And you said, Donovan, I hope not. And I said, Marisa, I hope not too. I don't want that either. But it makes sense because this is how you do it. You print money and then you throw it into the system, but you raise interest rates. That is the safest way to try to maintain some value of the dollar. So that the rest of the people in the world want to buy our bonds. And we want them to buy our bonds because they're paying our debt. And we need this until we can start manufacturing and making money from manufacturing, until we can get our stuff up in space. I will tell you, if somebody's looking for an investment, I think anything data center wise, not the ones that are on the ground right now, but the ones that are up and coming, because all the ones that are up and coming, I believe are going to go into space. I think they can't take it anymore. I think no wants data centers anymore, on the earth, because it's messing up cows, it's messing up the earth, the energy of the earth. They don't want it here. And I think they're going to throw it. Wouldn't that be funny if they threw it up into space and that started messing with ETs? Right.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, I wonder how the aliens are going to react to that one.
They're probably
when things get weird, they get weird. And there's a lot to this world that people don't understand. And
So that's kind of what I've got for you today as far as the market. And so how do you digest that as an investor? How do you consider what this particular medium is channeling? I think you just say, hey, we're getting ready to go. I think you just say, what am I invested in? And how much do I believe what I'm invested in? It's just such a hard line. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to decipher what tokens, what coins are zombie coins, and what coins are actually going to go the distance, right? Because we know the statistics. The statistics are like 97% of all projects that are out there are they're zombies. Like they're the walking dead. They're not going anywhere. They can't compete. They've lost their edge, and they're just going to slowly, make their demise because there's no LLC. There's no way to end the company. Like, how do you call the tokens back? Like, how do you determine it's done? Like, well, I guess if you watch like how many developers and what kind of money is coming in and out, if you're that kind of investor, you'll know if you've got a zombie coin that's taken the next 10 years to die off. But
and what kind of adoption is really being had with that coin as well? Like, who's actually using the function of that coin? What are they doing? And what businesses are using that is what it's really going to come down to. And then also, there's going to be market cap too as well. So it's going to be interesting. And there's projects right now that are under $1 that are going to be big money in the future. And listen, this is why I want to put out some of this information, because it's kind of like, man, if you could buy something for like under 50 cents and it's worth $20, $50, $100 in the future, that changes your financial situation, right? And not everything is going to be able to do that, but there's a few sleepers out there. Algorand, OriginTrail, in my opinion, those are the sleeper cryptos that you're going to want to stock up on now that are going to pay off big in the future. And I have looked into these two cryptos like crazy. From a psychic standpoint, I've picked the brains of some of the best psychics in the country. You and I have talked about a lot of this, and man, it's just, I know what's coming, and it is so good. Even if you have just a little bit of it in your portfolio, I think it's going to be a really good thing for some people. So
I'm so jelly beans the way spirit works with you. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish that I had that kind of sight in that way. You know what I mean? Mine is more like it's like, the difference, like you're like a sharpshooter. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those, what's the one where you got like 18, rounds in the chamber, you shoot it, it's like a buckshot or something, right? It
Mhm.
just kind of goes through the market. I more can see the market, and I can predict, and I can see clearly what people are doing and why they're doing it, and what's coming in, what spirit's bringing in, and how that's going to change the shape of the world. That's more how my sight goes. So I just wish I had your conviction in that way, right? Because it would make it so much easier to
Well,
just say, I got a dream. Because if I had a dream, I would follow that dream to anywhere, right? If I got a dream that told me something specific, that's it. I do not question spirit. Spirit gives me something, I go all the way with it.
mhm.
So, and I'm just
But
saying,
that's what makes our conversations awesome, because we
yeah,
don't see things the same way. We get different
yeah,
bits of information, but together it's very valuable. And
yeah,
that's why it's so important to put this information out. I mean, obviously,
sure.
like I have my Patreon account where I put out like a psychic crypto report. I talk about a lot more than just crypto and stocks. I put out a lot of world predictions. And I had a dream. I got to tell you about this dream I had last
Yeah,
night.
tell me. Oh
And
gosh, tell me.
I didn't have a chance to talk to you prior to the show, because you won't talk to me unless we're on air now for whatever reason. I'm just
Classic.
teasing you a little bit. I'm just poking you a little bit. Okay.
Okay,
But
okay,
okay. This has nothing to do with crypto though. It was a little
okay.
bit concerning. Okay, so this weekend I went to the Body Mind Spirit Celebration Expo in Wheaton, Illinois. And we had this big, convention, whatever. And of course there's all these different vendors there, right? Well, I have a hard time sleeping sometimes. And there was this guy that was selling this mushroom stuff that you like put in your tea before bed, and it helps you sleep,
Oh,
right? It's not a psychedelic or anything like that. It's not one that makes you hallucinate or go crazy. It just kind of helps you like sleep and get a deeper sleep, is the way he described it to me. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll try it, right? So I had some chamomile tea before bed, and I put some in there, and I didn't feel anything, but I did get a really deep sleep. Okay, so I had a dream. I don't know if this was a message or if it was just a random dream. It was pretty vivid though. I'll say this. I was standing outside. I was looking at the sky, and there was a plane that was struggling, and it was having mechanical issues, and it said Finland on the plane. Okay. And I was watching this plane struggle, and I knew it was going to crash. And I said a prayer as I'm watching this struggle. I'm like, God, just let it explode, because if it explodes, at least it's over for the passengers, and they don't have to go through this whole, oh my gosh, we're gonna, crash and have that last, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Just let it be over, one and done, right? And then that's what happened. And then I woke up and I was like, whoa, okay. I don't know if that was a message. I don't know if that was a premonition. I don't know if it was that mushroom stuff I put in my tea, but that's what came to me. There's also another thought that's really haunted me. My Patreon members. I have them ask any question they want before I write my monthly crypto report, and everybody posts their questions, and I go over everything in each report, and I answer everybody. Somebody asked me, because I put out some predictions of some, attacks that I feel are coming in the United States, and I don't necessarily talk about that publicly, just sort of privately in my Patreon group and in my crypto reports. But somebody asked me, because I saw the market rising, the crypto market rising substantially, and then a big pullback coming. But that's how the market runs always, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we have like this bull run energy and then this pullback time. Well, somebody asked me if the pullback had anything to do with attacks in the US. And I said, no, I feel like that's going to happen regardless, right? But that question has stayed with me all month, and almost every single day it pops into my head. And lately, I've been feeling something happening close to home in regards to this in Chicago. And I've been feeling very uneasy. So I don't know, like, I feel like something's going to happen in Chicago. I really do. And it's making me very uncomfortable. And honestly, I want to get out of Illinois. I don't want to be living near any big city at this time. I feel like something weird is going to happen. I feel like we're going to see some unfortunate events coming up. And Yeah, I don't know. I'm just putting that out there because I'm just sort of maybe warning people a little bit. I do not feel good about Chicago right now at all. I will not do any events in Chicago. I will not visit Chicago. I will not I stay as far away from Chicago as I possibly can right now. So
So were you in Chicago proper for the Wheaton event or no?
no, no.
Okay.
That's in the
Yeah.
burbs. Wheaton
Okay.
is a suburb. Yeah. It's like
Okay.
maybe 30 minutes outside of Chicago or something like that.
Okay.
There's never any conventions like actually in Chicago, but they'll say, oh, Chicago, but it's like outside of Chicago,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fair. Oh, wow. Wow. Well, I mean, this is a different world we're living in, isn't it? It's crazy that you should talk about this because hubby and I started season 3 of Lioness. And like
mhm,
that's just right up my alley, right? Like that's right.
mhm,
Like I can see the storyline coming. I mean, it's not, it's like anything when you know something about things and then you watch a film of it, it's more sensationalized. So there is that aspect
mhm,
of it, but I can definitely track it. And one of the things that was on there is that they went to in the show they went to the front lines between Ukraine and Russia, and we had talked about Palantir and we talked about those drones, and in the opening part of it, I think it's the first episode, it's like you see all of these drones and it's like, what the heck, this is crazy, it's just
mhm.
crazy. So it's just interesting that last night I was I was in the lioness era and you were like having this dream. And then there was another, similar, we were talking about World Liberty Mutual,
Financial.
yeah, financial. Thank you. And you were talking about another psychic that you had talked, that you had spoken with. And it's like, I think there's just information circling around the globe right now, to where a lot of us are picking up information just in the way that we receive it. But it's all similar. And I think it just all comes back to a general feeling of unrest because we're in such a period of transformation. I mean, we're getting ready to, we have been creating a whole new species that is now going to go in its own little environment that is then going to be the biggest social experiment that we have known since humanity's existence. It's like none of this is like easy breezy stuff. We're all in uncharted territory. So, I mean, then you've got people shaking things up. You've got TradFi and you've got, Trump, and you just got so many different people who have just specifically come to the planet to kind of shake things up. It's like, well, no wonder just common people are just feeling a sense of unrest and
Mhm.
unease because there's
Yeah.
a lot of transformation going on, which is so maybe visualizing peace for your own self and what that looks like for you. Maybe that's a little bit about
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we all have to find our own inner peace and tune out the outside world because there's a lot of chaos and there's going to be even more chaos coming up. That concerns me. I personally am just staying out of any kind of major city and keeping to myself in my little safe zone and focusing on maybe, doing my own independent research on crypto, CEOs, who's doing what. Now, we did talk about World Liberty Financial. I'm glad that you brought that up. I almost forgot about that. So last week, we talked about World Liberty Financial getting a banking license. And, right now would be a good time to buy it. And then it went up 14% right after we published that. And that's great and all. And, I did have a conversation with another friend of mine that is very psychic. I'm not going to say who, what, when, where. And she did kind of say to me, after midterm elections, there probably is going to be some investigations into any crypto company that Trump is tied into, which would mean World Liberty Financial, which it makes sense, though. It really does. At the end of the day, when you're the one trying to put together regulations for an industry that you own a big stake in, there's going to be some controversy around that. Okay. I'm confident Elizabeth Warren is going to be up there and say, Trump is making too much money in crypto and he's got a banking license now. I know, we're going to see that. I can't stand Elizabeth Warren. I'm sorry. I just can't stand her. The way that she talks about crypto is awful. I get the point of that though. I do understand the point. I do understand the questions. And I think there's going to be a lot of drama around that. So get yourself into a profit zone in World Liberty Financial and start considering reducing your holdings in it. Okay, so it went up 14%. If that's good enough for you, you know, you might want to consider converting that into a layer 1 blockchain. And I would totally stay away from the meme coins, the Trump meme coin. I would totally stay away from that. Yes, it went up. Of course, did you see that it pumped? Yeah, it pumped a little bit. I mean,
when they
but
got the license.
yeah, of course. When we get the news of regulations, I get it. And so when he does something good for crypto, that crypto is always going to pump. World Liberty Financial will probably do the same, where it moves similarly, where when he does something good for the crypto market as a whole, that crypto will pump, right? So you jump on these trends and you get out. Okay, I'm just forewarning people what's coming. I did feel that when I heard that information, that was accurate information. You know, one of the things that I can do really well is when I hear a little bit of information, I automatically in my mind say true or false. Whether I hear that on TV or through somebody, or, you know, if you know, I have a ton of psychic friends. Okay, tons of them.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know, if somebody tells me their prediction, sometimes I'll say, oh, I don't think that's totally accurate. And sometimes I'll hear it and I'll be like, man, I'm concerned that that's true. And I got that true feeling today when I heard that. So anyways, I'm just putting that out there. It's not my prediction, but I do feel that it's true. So
yeah, well, you know, just on the Elizabeth Warren part, if Jerome Powell had made regulations back when he was in power, when the Democrats were in power, we would not be having this issue today, because they would have gotten to determine what the regulations are going to be. Right? They would have given us clarity, but they didn't give us clarity because they didn't want it. But it wasn't the opposite side that was trying to bring crypto in. People, crypto is worldwide. In fact, I would say there's more for people in third world countries and in other parts of the world to gain by this new technology, because they're going to be able to do business with the people in the United States, with the people everywhere. It's going to level everybody up. So there's more to benefit for the others in the world. So it's not a United States issue. This is not a United States regulation. We just have the most say because we own the world's reserve currency, because our dollar is how did I think about it earlier? It's like our dollar in accordance to the world is the cleanest shirt in the laundry, but Bitcoin of all the assets is the cleanest shirt in the laundry. So
hold on. Is it like a pile of dirty laundry?
Yeah, laundry. Yeah,
okay.
Laundry. What, you know, like if you're a server or something and you get stuff all over you, like what's the cleanest shirt in the laundry? It's dirty too, but it doesn't have all the spaghetti and meatballs that got knocked all over you when you're picking up the kid's meal. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the dirtiest shirt, but the cleanest shirt maybe you got a little bit of beer spilt on you or something. So you can't see it, but you stink. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. So I'm just saying that to me, the dollar is the cleanest shirt in the laundry as far as on a world scope, and Bitcoin of all assets is the cleanest shirt in the laundry. Why? Because nobody can manipulate it. Nobody can control it. And in a world that we're moving into where there's going to be abundance for everyone, the one thing you are going to want is something that is not abundant. And Bitcoin in the future will not be abundant. There is only 21 million. And that's not even true, like, because there's been so many.
You mean abundant in terms of the circulating supply? We're not. I just want to make sure that that's what Cinnamon means when she says abundant. That doesn't necessarily mean the value of Bitcoin. No. Like it's not going to be abundant. That part will be abundant.
No,
but the circulating supply is not abundant. It's only 21 million coins compared to like something like XRP that's 100 billion coins. It's a big difference.
No, I don't mean any of that. What I mean is that in a world of abundance, right? Like AI is coming, and in the future, we're going to have everything. Everybody's going to have everything they want. Whatever you want, you're going to have, because there will be robots that will do everything. Human beings will then shift and have to figure out how to make a life of meaning and purpose. Now, might that take us 20 or 30 years to get to? It might. I don't know. Might it come faster? It just depends how quickly we build this infrastructure. But in the future, abundance will be for everyone. Everything, all food, all clothing, all shelter, all travel, all expenses. There will be abundance. There will be enough for everyone to have everything that they need in the future. What better asset to have than something that is a limited supply that you can get no more, because that then in the future becomes the value. Why do you think it's going to be 10 million, some people, I think Michael Saylor, don't quote me, but you can look it up. I think like 50 years from now, he's saying it's going to be worth 30 million a coin, probably because he's taking into account the world of abundance that we're moving into. That's that Abundance 360 conference that I go to that's hosted by Peter Diamandis, where it's all the futurists that get together. It's like all the billionaires and all the futurists come together in one room and talk about what is coming in the future. Like, what is technology going to be like in the future? How are we going to be living? What is everything going to look like? That is the focus of that event. Specifically, is that world of abundance that we're moving into. So that's just the reality. So what all these other things are going to be in mass supply. They're going to be a multitude. Bitcoin is not. It never can be. It never will be. It just cannot. And so going into a future in a world of abundance, what's one of the things you want? You want something that's fixed, that nobody can control, and that everybody's going to want, and supply and demand will remain in that particular asset. Like, I don't even know if in the future there will be assets that people will invest in, because why would you need to? If you have everything that you need, why would you need that? So
I love that. I mean, when you think about a future where where everybody has everything they need, how do you find a purpose?
Oh yeah. You know what? That excites me. In that world, I hope I'm alive for it, because so like astrologically speaking, you've got your ascendant, you've got your sun, and you've got your moon. And some people have a different sign and a different house for each one. But some people like myself, I have one that is my ascendant, that's one sign, but then my sun and my moon are fixed. They're both in the same house. They're both under the same sign, which means that in the beginning, maybe you'll see me as a Gemini, that I'm communicative, but then once you get to know me, I am the Taurus. I am steadfast. I am dependent. I'm reliable. Might be stubborn, and all those other things too. I have some.
No, you're not stubborn.
Maybe, but time-wise, gotta have goals, right? Hashtag goals. But the point is that to me, like, being authentic and genuine is like, that is like my superpower, right? That is my superpower. So thinking that there's going to be a world that's coming where AI is going to compete with humans, and the humans that are going to stand out are the ones that are not afraid to be authentically and genuinely who they are, without reservation, without any other human attribute blocking their authenticity. Because that's what other humans are going to be drawn to, because that will be the rarity. And I'm like, please God, just let me live that long. I want to be in that world, right? How fun would that world be? To me,
that would be great.
I get, for some people, they're like, yo, I got to tell the truth, like, all the time. Like, tell the truth that, I don't know, stole a pack of gum out of the 7-Eleven. I don't want to tell the truth about that. But anyway, just jokey jokes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about purpose. It's going to be about purpose and meaning. So these are the kind of thoughts that come through Cinnamon's mind. So in that world, right, of living a life of purpose and living a life of meaning, like, if you think about our creator, right, our creator created us. And we are now, like, I mean, all of us, like human, like the human world in like the global world, on Earth, on planet Earth. And we're like evolving. Like, we used to be in caves, and like now we just created our own. Now we are acting as our creator. Like, in the way our creator created us, we are now creating a whole new species. And now we're going to be like our creator when we get frustrated because we're like, this AI did this, or it did that, or, oh, we're so proud of the AI did this really good thing. I can only imagine that that's what our creator thinks about us. Like, our creator drops us on planet Earth and we make good choices, and our creator's like, I knew that she'd do the right thing, right? Or I knew she'd come out on top, or I'm so proud of her. She pushed so hard and she got there. I imagine that's what our creator thinks for us. So now we're going to be in that role in the future with our AI. Like, I can't believe my AI did this, or I'm so proud, like, my AI went out and helped that woman cross the street, and I didn't even, robotic humanoid AI went out there and helped that woman cross the street, like, I didn't even program her to do that, and she did that, and gonna be so proud. So it's like, now the next evolution in my mind, this is just all Cinnamon's original thought, right? The next step of humanity is that we get to come even closer to being like creator. Like, you know, like how we have children, right? And our children grow up and they're a little bit kid, a little bit adult in their teen years. And then eventually they become all adult and we're an adult and they do really cool things and sometimes not so good things and we worry for them. It's like that same concept, but on a humanistic scale and, you know, on a scale of humanity. So I'll either be watching it from this world or that world. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see, you know, growth. I mean, if you're in love with the idea of growth, of involvement, of potentials and possibilities for the good, I think it's going to be a great time.
I love that. I think that we have quite a bit of time before we get there, unfortunately, because, you know, there are powers that be that will not want to see that happen. They don't want to see people thrive. They don't want to see the public be able to have everything that they need.
Autonomy.
You know, they like chaos, they like poverty, you know, and unfortunately, when you own when you have a certain amount of money, let's say you're in the top 1%, you're controlling more than people realize. So
for sure you are. Just look at Bill Gates. And he's not a fan favorite. We were talking about him yesterday. My family was, and I was like, oh, I didn't know everybody. It must be like a trend right now. But like, I mean, I'm a Melinda girly pop. And when I read her book before Lift Up, I was like, definitely a big fan. And to me, she was the powerhouse. Even though like he's so smart and I respect like his intelligence, like it was her moral compass that really grabbed my attention. At least that's how it got.
Oh, and she kicked him to the curb. That's what it seemed like. Good for her. Good for her. I do like her. I do like her. Yeah. No, I like Melinda a million times more than him. I can't stand him. I feel like there's something evil about him. It's bad. I don't know.
It's coming out. Like a lot of people are on that bandwagon. But yeah.
The sad part about it is I don't feel that he started that way. And, you know, you see that happen. You see that evolve with different people over time where, you know, they're very intelligent. They start out really good with these awesome intentions. And then, you know, they hit a certain level of success and then they gain all this power and then they're around all these bad people and that energy just kind of like filters into your life. And, you know, that's one of the things that I tell my clients when, let's just say, you know, for example, they're around somebody that has like a serious addiction, like a really bad addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol or whatever, and it's getting really, really bad. You know, for me, I see that negative energy like enter into my client's life, even though they have nothing to do with anything in regards to that. It's just being around that person can bring, you know, a lot of negative energy their way and attach to them. And, you know, so it's kind of this weird trickle down effect. Like it's really important to keep the right people around you. And that's one of the things that I have really learned the hard way. I'll say that. Keep the right people around you. So right now I am so particular with who I have around me. And I set very, very strict boundaries, very basic boundaries, but strict boundaries that I adhere to because I don't want the wrong people around me anymore. I've put myself in that situation a little bit too much, I think, in the past. And so I keep my circle very small.
Yeah.
And very psychic.
I think that's great. I think, you know, there was something you were saying that I wanted to speak to about how do people start to steer off the course, right? And you know what I think it is? Just because I've been around, you know, enough of people and the work, right? The work, like it takes us places that you would never normally get to go to. It's just, you know, everybody wants to know the medium, right? Because everybody wants to know about what comes after this world. And if you really know what comes after and you have the sight for it, it's like people just want to they bring you into their world and then they share you with their friends and so on and so forth. So I think what happens is that people get busy in life and they slowly, like the frog in the water, over time forget that it is a spirit body we inhabit and a human body both. And so they become more human than spirit. just in little things in the beginning. Like they're very impatient. Like they want this now, 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 now. Because maybe they've got a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of things they have to get done in a short amount of time. So it's like, I want it done now, 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 now. But what they're not paying attention to is that they're losing that spirituality. They're losing the humanity because they're so focused and driven on what they're getting done. And they don't understand that that is just the part that starts to, get the Rubik's Cube just right out of its solid colors and mess things up. And then once you get to that point to where you are demanding and you are impatient, well, the good people that are patient, that don't like chaos, slowly start to move away. And when that happens, you're left with people that are more like you are, you know what I'm saying? And then that's when it just then that's the path that it goes down. And then bad decisions. And then once a bad decision is made, this is what's so difficult about making a bad choice. If you know that you're making a choice and you've got two choices to make and you don't want to make the good choice because it feels difficult, so you make the bad choice because it feels easy, I promise you that later on what's going to happen is that bad choice is going to turn into another bad choice, and that's going to put you on a cycle of making bad decisions and bad choices. And at some point, you're going to have to stop and stand up and go backpedal all the way back where you came, and then go back to the original and then start over again and then take a different path. And I think it just happens so subtly and quietly under the pressure of just getting things done, like not having enough hours in the day to get things done. It just starts there, and the character cracks there. And as the character cracks, then that's where the shifting comes. So I just don't think people are inherently bad. I think that they just get very human. I do. I just think that they get very human. And so then that means the answer out is spirituality at any given moment. Meditation, prayer is the answer out. Right. And then do the hard thing and go back and retrace and then take a different path. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's what happened to Bill Gates, but probably it happened to me at some point in my timeline. Probably happens to all of us humans, right? It seems to be like a common thread we all go down. And then once we learn it, we're just like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth making the poor choice. It's not worth stacking the day so full of stuff that, like I said this thing the other day. Where was I coming back from? Somewhere, and I had gotten my new phone, and I had just such a hard time because it was such a mess. It was sending some things to the old phone, some things to the new phone, something on my desktop, and I had just come home from somewhere, taking my granddaughter up to DC to get her on the plane to go to her grandmother's funeral. And I had just gotten home, and I was at Verizon, and my phone was just not working. I said, look, I'm going to apologize. I said, I am just not for human consumption right now. Like, I am just going to go home and go to bed. Like, because I had nothing left, but at least having that awareness that I'm not being pleasing. Like, he can't help that my phone is doing this thing. Like, he could probably fix it for me if I could be patient enough, but I'm just so spent. I need to take accountability and go home and just rest. And then I did come back the next day, and I just told him, I said, I'm so sorry that I just wasn't my best self. He says he was just so nice. And then he did get the phone all fixed up for me, but I think he appreciated that I called my own self out and then removed myself. So,
well, you've got self-awareness.
That's probably more than your viewers want to hear, but that's just how I deal with it. I think sometimes we all just become more human, and it's always important to just come out of your humanity and get into do what it takes, do what you need to do to get into your spirit self.
Absolutely. And one of the things too that I've noticed with some of these very successful like CEOs and stuff is when they hit a certain level of success, it's also like a little bit of an ego stroke, right? So their egos tend to be a little bit overinflated, because people have inflated it and they allow that energy to be absorbed. And that can change things. I've seen psychics, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I've seen psychics who have hit a certain level of success in their career. And these are some people that you've seen on TV, right? And they hit that success, and then they get that ego. And then they start losing their psychic ability. I have seen a couple people lose their psychic ability, and people that again, I'm not going to name names, but these are household names that people would know, that I look at them and I watch them on TV and I see their predictions and I'm like, It's because of that ego stroke. You know, they get all this money, they get all this fame, and everybody wants a piece of them, and they're so popular, and everybody's kissing their ass a little bit, you know, and I've watched the psychic abilities diminish, and it's a little bit sad. So, you know, one of the things that is so important, and this is actually one thing that a good friend of mine, I'm not gonna like say any names because I haven't like talked to her and asked her if I could, you know, tell the story. But one of the things that she's told me is, and she's very psychic and very successful. And she said, you know, Marisa, you always have to watch the egos. You know, that will change everything about a person. And when I really take a step back and I watch that, it's so true. So at any given point, and I'm not even really like that successful of a person, but I'll say this, I watch my ego every single step of the way and make sure that the awareness is there and that it's not going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, all of a sudden your head's inflated, you know, because that changes everything. And I really think that that's what has happened in some of these cases. Like, you know, we look at Bill Gates, right? You know, I feel like there's been a little bit of an ego issue, and then it's like that attracts negative energy, and it's a trickle down effect, and you become more human instead of spiritual. And so it's really important to always have that connection with God, in my opinion, and to, you know, stay close to him, and never forget where you came from. And always help people and always humble yourself, you know, because at one point you were in their shoes, right? You know, especially if you started from nothing. So that's one thing that I always think about. And, you know, like, well, let's say when I do these BMSE shows, you know, and people sit at my booth, and, you know, everybody charges different rates, and I could charge a good premium at this point if I really wanted to. And I try to be cheaper than everybody else, because my goal and mission from start to finish has always been to help as many people as possible, regardless of what they're able to give to me. And there are some people that are like, oh, you know, I'd really like to have a reading with you, but I can't afford it. You know, I'll give them a discount, you know, or I'll sometimes I've given free readings too to people that, you know, stop at my booth, and, you know, I can tell they're really struggling, and I know I can help them, you know, just because, like, if you're able to help somebody, you should, right? With boundaries, of course, you help with boundaries, but yeah.
Good
So
stuff. No better words to live by, my friend.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about everything that I was thinking about talking about. What about you? You got anything else?
I'm good. No, I think I got it. Yeah.
All right. So if there's a couple takeaways here, number one, get some more Bitcoin, OriginTrail, Algorand, XRP. What else? Reduce your holdings in World Liberty Financial when you get into a good profit zone. Although I do think we're going to see another big spike up with that. I really do. So if you want to wait on that, but just keep that in the back of your head. Okay. Everything that we've said here is not financial advice. It's our personal opinion and psychic prediction. Make your own financial decisions. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.